at arms for the day. I will now read the club mission statement. You don't have to repeat after me. I will read it. You can say it in your mind. The mission of a Toastmasters club is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop their communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. With that being said, I have a few ground rules before we begin. Kindly make sure that your device, either laptop or phones, are well charged and have stable internet connection. If you are a debater, try to make sure that you have a backup device as well, if in case of an emergency. Kindly refrain from any side chats, especially in the chat box when the contestant or the debater is giving a speech. Mute your mics and close your video when the role players or debaters are speaking. Topics like sex, politics, and religion are prohibited in this part of the region. With the ground rules being explained, I would now like to introduce our master of ceremonies, who is quite a new Toastmaster. Yep, that is what she told me. She is new. Despite being new, she has a global presence in the world of Toastmasters. Despite being new, she was a division director 2 years in a row. Despite being new, she has even been to DTAC as a contestant. And despite being new, she could be the upcoming world champion of public speaking. Wherever she goes, she brings in a lot of excitement. And today, you're going to witness that for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge round of applause to welcome DTM Arij Jafar.
Thank you so much, DTM Alan. And ladies and gentlemen, before we start our meeting, let me give you a small introduction about DTM Alan. And Alan, you will love that. He is an Australian-American actor, businessman, and former and professional bodybuilder. He served as the 38th Governor of California from 2003 to 2011. As of 2020, he is the most recent Republican governor of California. Oops, this is not Alan. I think this is Arnold Schwarzenegger. 1 second. This is the introduction of Alan. So Alan Paul, he is an amazing person from inside and outside, and inside Toastmasters and outside Toastmasters. He is not just a regular member. He is member from 2017. And from that day until today, he is serving with passion and lots of love to everything he is doing in Toastmasters. He served as a club president before, and of course, another role players or club officers. He is the immediate past Area 30 director. And recently, he got awarded with the Higher Education Award in Toastmasters, Distinguished Toastmasters members. Thank you again so much, DTM Alan, for your introduction. And this was a small introduction for our Chief Sergeant at Arms for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, in life, we go through so many situations and we find ourselves going through so many arguments. Here at Elite Debaters, we help each other to learn the proper techniques and styles of debating so we can win all the arguments we are facing in our lives. Before we start this excitement session and excitement meeting of today, help me please welcome one of our most important members of Elite Debaters Club. And he is none other than, or actually he is not I need to say his introduction first, but I cannot see the presentation anyway. So he is a lovely husband and puppy of Two energetic kids, mashallah, mashallah, touch wood. Professionally, he is a qualified chartered accountant working with Al Ghanim Auto. He served at the VB Education for a club last term and got the club on top 10 of the world for educational awards. And he is now our amazing Elite Debaters Club president. Help me welcome Toastmasters Anwar Adam.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony, DTM Arish, for that wonderful introduction. And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Elite Debaters meeting number 57. We are with our Elite Debaters Championship, debate number 2. What's special about this Elite Debaters Championship and what's happening? Just for all those new members out here who's joined us for the first time. With this new term, we made a vision for the club. And part of that vision, one of the things was focus on club members, their debating skill and overall experience. And it's true, we won the best debating team last term at the Synergies across the GCC. And this term, we want to build more debating leaders, more debating participants. And thus, this was a platform where we are encouraging all debaters to take part. Today, you would witness the upcoming champions. There are debaters who are debating for the very first time. And I welcome and I thank all of you who have come forward to encourage us and also to learn from the debating skills. We already went through spoke to most of the guests out here. Without further ado, let's get it going. I officially announce the debate to open. Over to you, Master of Ceremony.
Thank you so much, our president, and inshallah, we will do all your dreams in this term with achieving everything you are wishing for and we are aiming for as well. And now, let's welcome our Division E Director, who is here today to give us a very amazing welcoming address. Help me welcome DTM Xavier Yazdos. I pronounce it correctly.
Hello, good evening all. Thank you, Toastmaster Arish, for your wonderful introduction about me. Thanks a lot, as always. You can see I'm absolutely informal, in fact, today. I'm sitting too far from you all. I'm in Kerala. I had to travel unexpectedly to my home country, but thank God we are all safe and good. Toastmaster Anwar Adam asked me, even though you are in India, would you like to join with me to give few words? Even though I'm very happy to join this, because for me, attending Elite Debaters Club debate function today is important because of it is my first visit to this club, being the Division E director. Number two, we have so many dignitaries from around the world is here. Moreover that, the subject which is we are debating today is very much attracted me, which is humans are really involved or responsible for the climatic changes. I am sitting here in Kerala today. I just really want to share a small thing, which is Kerala, one of the beautiful places which people always say is, which is God's own country. But last year we had a flood, which was a disastrous thing happened in Kerala, which is which everybody says God's own country, but there was nothing left after the flood in the God's own country. Today, we were all going through the pandemic situation, but at the same time, many seaside areas of Kerala has been hit badly by the sea. Sea encroached to many areas. Many people were stranded and they were forced to removed from their homes, and they lost their homes. So the topic today is very, very really important on the debate. So it made me to join this and give you all my few words and wish you all the best and congratulations for a wonderful debate today. Thank you for the opportunity. I really wish to join one of the debate because it's my, because basically I was looking at the debate structure. It gives a logical thinking. It gives a listening skill. Lot of things are matching with the communication skills of Toastmasters, thinking and thoughts. Wish you all today a wonderful debate, and one day I will also join with you. Thanks to Toastmaster Ahmed, Adam, and the XCOM who invited me. Wish you all the best once again. Thank you. Back to MC.
Thank you so much. And VP membership, don't leave him alone. Keep nagging on his head until he becomes a member. Thank you so much.
I've already sent him a message.
This is awesome. Fill the form and let's have you in next debate. I would like to thank all the role players for today, our Chief Judge, Reza Mohamed. And if we can share the screen so they can see their faces. Our Chief Judge, Toastmasters, Reza Mohamed. Our role players for today, the pilot counter is Toastmasters, Mazrul and DTM Gayatri. Thank you for your effort already from now in advance. Our timers for today, DTM Rohaina, Tanweer and Toastmaster Sana Fatima. And our host and co-host for today is DTM Wafa Salman. I feel the pain here for you and Abir and DTM Abir. Hope your phones will be recovered soon. Thank all the best for everyone for their role players. And now, are you all ready to start the fun? So you guys will start the fun and I will go make my coffee and then start the fun with you. So let me welcome our debate moderator. He is the immediate past Division E Director, President Distinguished Division in District 20. He completed 2 DTMs, one in the traditional path and the other one in the pathways. Now he is working on his 3rd DTM. Passionate Toastmasters, loves to attend maximum clubs and learn daily something new. President of Timber Talkers Club, Kuwait and VB Education for a Tamil Toastmasters Club in Kuwait, member of 9 Toastmasters Clubs. Ladies and gentlemen, our debate moderator for today, DTM Morli Manohar.
Good evening. Thank you very much, our MC, DTM Ari Jafar. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Welcome to this debate. Before we start with the debate, please allow me to share with you few ground rules. This debate will follow the Toastmaster International recommended method and will consist of 3 speakers on each side. The resolution for this round is, it is resolved that human beings are primarily responsible for global climate change. Human beings are primarily responsible for global climate change. Our timers, as already been announced, are DTM Rohaina Akil and Toastmaster Sana Fatima, and the timing rules are as follows. The team captains opening session will be for 5 minutes. The green light will be shown at timer, please. The green light will be shown at 4 minutes 30 seconds. Can you all pin the timer if you want?
Just
the yellow light will be shown at 4 minutes 40 seconds and the red light will be shown at 4 minutes 50 seconds. The speaker's microphone will be muted at 5 minutes. Speeches by the second and third speakers as well as summary will be for 3 minutes. The green light will be shown at 2 minutes 30 seconds. The yellow light will be shown at 2 minutes 40 seconds, and the red light will be shown at 2 minutes 50 seconds. The speaker's microphone will be muted at 3 minutes. The cross verification, the summary part will be for 2 minutes. Green light will be shown at 1 minute 30 seconds. The yellow light will be shown at 1 minute 40 seconds, and the red light will be shown at 1 minute 50 seconds. The speaker's microphone will be muted at 2 minutes. No new material is allowed during the summary speech. Normally, the moderator has the right to intervene when a speaker gives new material, but due to technical glitches in this virtual platform, the moderator will indicate to the judges that there was evidence of new material for them to consider. The decision by our judges is final. I repeat, the decision made by our judges is final. Speakers shall speak according to their team sequence, during which we kindly request all debaters, moderator, and timers to keep your videos on. Our guests and audience, please remember that heckling any speaker during the debate is not allowed. Now, let us meet our today's debaters. We have two teams. The affirmative side is elite thinkers. The captain of the elite thinker is DTM Ola Rashid. Second speaker is Toastmaster Tasneem Akbar. And the third speaker is Toastmaster Sham Sundar. The negative side is debate musketeers. The team captain is DTM Ram Kumar Nachupalli. Second speaker is Toastmaster Qureshi Saifuddin. And the third speaker is Toastmaster Rola Ismail. Wishing you all the best, debaters. Are you all ready for the debate? Are our guests and audience ready? Okay, then let the debate begin and let the best team win. May I request DTM Alan Paul, our Sergeant at Arms, to prepare the first speaker.
Thank you, moderator. DTM Ola.
Yes.
How are you doing today?
I'm great, thank you.
May I remind you to pin the timer, please?
Yeah, who will be the first timer? Shall I pin Ruhaina or Sana?
Sana.
Sana?
Sana.
Okay. Timer is pinned.
Great. Are you ready to debate?
Yeah, sure.
Moderator,
Can
I
you
just,
thumbs up?
Alan, sorry to interrupt. Moderator,
Yes.
can we please check with the chief judge and
Yeah.
if all the judges are in?
I will ask. Yeah. So, Chief Judge Toastmaster Mohamed, Riaz, Rizal, all the judges are available, and is it okay to go ahead?
Moderator and fellow Toastmasters, all the judges are ready, and I wish all the debaters the very best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. So let the ball start rolling. The first speaker from the affirmative team, the captain, is going to give the constructive speech, and your time limit is 5 minutes. at 4:30 green, 4:40 yellow, 4:50 red. 105 minutes, your mic will be muted. Toastmaster DTM, Ola Rashid, all the best.
Thank you, moderator, fellow debaters, Toastmasters, and guests. Our motion for today is resolved that human beings are primarily responsible for global climate change, and we are strongly agree that it is true. Before I start, I would love to share with you definitions for the key words of this result. Human beings are defined as the Homo sapiens species, of which the only extant subspecies is Homo sapiens, and this is from a New World Encyclopedia. Primarily, essentially, mostly, principally from Webster Dictionary. Responsible, involving accountability or responsibility as in having the power to control or manage. This from Cambridge Dictionary. Now for the global climate change definition from NASA, it says a broad range of global phenomena created predominantly by burning fossil fuels, which add heat-trapping gas to Earth's atmosphere. These phenomena include the increased temperature trend described by global warming, but also encompass changes such as sea levels, ice mass, lost in Greenland, Antarctica, and Arctic and mountain glaciers worldwide, shifts in flora, plant blooming, and extreme weather events. My team and I will be discussing the following points: industrialization and its effect over the climate, and this will be covered by me. Toastmaster Tasneem will speak about global warming, and Toastmaster Sham will speak about globalization. In the Journal of Social Sciences and Humanities, they have published in 2019 about the starting of the industrialization and how the human activities have turned to machinery in which the coal and the fossil fuel are used as a source of power in the production process. Joseph Romm, in his book Climate Change, What Everyone Needs to Know, which was published in 2016, he said there is 40% rise in carbon dioxide levels since the dawn of the industrial age in the mid-1700s. And this is because of the massive usage of the coal and fossil fuel by humans since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. This observation cannot be denied, and you cannot turn your eye away from it. According to the Carbon Brief, a peer-reviewed database from all over the world states that industrialization is the primary cause. Severe weather patterns, which include effects on atmosphere, cold, snow and ice, coral bleaching, droughts, ecosystem functions, heat waves, sea level rise, rain and flooding, storms, and wildfires. Please note the pink marks. If please, Shem, can you share that diagram? Thank you so much. The first one. Sham, the first one, not this one. Okay. So please note that pink markers shown in the map maintained by Carbon Brief refers to human influence on the climate change. Hence, we strongly believe that the human beings are primarily responsible for global climate change. And hopefully, okay, and this is the end of my speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I request the timer to give 30 seconds for the judges to mark their markings. Thank you. Now, may I request our negative team captain, who will be giving his constructive speech from our debate musketeers, DTM Ram Kumar, to have a cross-examination for DTM Ola Rashid's speech.
Good
Before
evening, all.
that, may I ask, Alan Paul, please
Timer.
see whether everything is set.
Okay. DTM Ramkumar,
Yes,
how are you doing today?
fine, terrific. Thank you.
May I remind you to please pin the timer?
Yeah, 1 moment. It's changing
It is-
actually. I think it.
The
It's
timer
changing.
two.
But
Timer 2,
Yeah.
Sana Fatima.
timer to Sana Fatma. 1 second. I see a timer as Rohena Tanvir.
No,
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 it's
next to
timer
that.
two.
Timer 2.
The chocolate color checks.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay, but I cannot see myself. Okay.
Are you ready to debate?
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm ready.
All the best. Over to you, moderator.
Okay. Our DTM Ramkumar will be making cross-examination for affirmative team captain DTM Ola Rashid. Over to you.
My worthy affirmative team. May I ask, climate change existed before Industrial Revolution? What about that?
It's a natural process, but here
Do
we
you
are
know
saying
what anthropogenic? What is anthropogenic and when it has started? Yes
sorry,
or
would
no?
you repeat the question?
Do you know what is anthropogenic and when it has started?
I don't know when it
Fine.
was.
Climate change existed before Industrial Revolution. What about that? Do you have any answer for that? Yes or no?
Here
Fine.
we are
No
speaking
human
about that the
influence can
humans
match
are the
nature's
primary
influence.
source for the climate change. We are not saying that the humans are the only source for climate change, but here we are debating they are the primarily source for the climate change.
Okay, I get you. No
So we
human
are not
influence can
denying
match
that the
nature's
climate
influence.
change was not there
No
before
human
humans.
influence can match nature's influence. Can you explain me that? What does it mean?
Would you repeat the question?
No human influence can match nature's influence. How do you differentiate between two?
You cannot say that humans, they don't have an influence over the nature.
Fine, I get you. I get you. Thank you. I understand. The debate is about what is primary and what then is secondary. So
It's not about
nothing affects sea
secondary.
levels
Here
or
our debate,
temperatures or
if you
other
will look
factors.
at the
You
result,
mentioned.
if you will look at the result, we are here saying human beings are the primarily source for the climate change, but doesn't mean that we are saying who is secondary in that part. And we are not saying that there was no climate change before,
existed
but here we
before.
are saying that human beings, they are the primary source for the climate change.
I believe that nature is climate change. I get your answer. Thank you very much.
I didn't say the nature is the climate change. I said the human beings are the primary source for the climate
No,
change.
it's okay. It's okay. I got the answer. I'm saying that nature is climate change.
Thank you very much. Judges, Timer, please give 30 seconds for the judges to mark their marking. Timer, please bring it back to you. Thank you. Thank you, Timer. Our negative team captain, DTM Ramkumar, is now going to start his constructive speech, and your time is 5 minutes. 4:30 green, 4:40 yellow, 4:50 red, and at 5 minutes your mic will be muted. Over to you, DTM Ramkumar Nachpalli.
Respected audience, judges, fellow environmentalists, and my worthy opponents, good evening to one and all. As the negative team, we strongly disagree with the proposition and firmly believe that human beings are not primarily responsible for climate change. I would like to state our term definitions as follows. Human beings, living human inhabitants of the earth, primarily contributing as a major reason. Climate change refers to any significant changes in the parameters of climate on planet Earth since its inception, lasting for an extended period of time. Our team will put forth arguments to prove our case based on the following 3 contentions. Earth, its beginning and sustainability will be covered by me. Solar cycle and Earth's orbital change to be covered by my teammate, worthy negative team 2, Quraish. Natural causes and its effects to be covered by my teammate, Rola. My worthy affirmative team have. The debate is about what is primary and what then is secondary. I could not understand. My affirmative team, the worthy opponent team, couldn't explain that. No human influences can match nature's influence. I asked this question. I didn't have a proper answer for that. Climate change existed before Industrial Revolution. What about that? No significant evidence or reference has been given. Nothing affects sea levels or temperatures or other factors you mentioned as much as solar output, orbital variations, internal variations. Fellow members, I believe even the rebuttal question when I asked my worthy opponent, explain, how do you explain and what do you understand the anthropogenic and when it has started? Now I will speak on Earth, its beginning and sustainability. I give you a clear report. As per reports from Solar System, NASA, Space, University Today, and Scientific American University Today.com web references, scientific evidences, research studies. 4.5 billion years ago, when the Earth was formed, there was a lot of climate changes, as I will now explain. Objects collided into the newly formed Earth, and there were rivers of magma that cooled and formed a blanket of steam around Earth, creating the first greenhouse effect of climate change. This had nothing to do with man. The Earth heated up of ages, and then with differentiation of the crust, the atmosphere began cooling. The cooling causes steam to condense and fall as rain. You can imagine the kind of flooding caused then as oceans were first formed, bringing in climate change. Again, nothing with man-made. The event then caused the moon to form again, heated the Earth. Again, climate change. The Earth cooled and again the water bodies formed. The moon helped to stabilize the Earth's tilt and the Earth's climate. Seismic activity in this period caused massive carbon dioxide amounts and methane gas to be released. These are called greenhouse gases that created climate change. Again, without man in the picture. 2.5 billion years ago, microbial forms of life gave out oxygen as a byproduct of their processes. The oxygen then helped the ozone layer formation, which helped the Earth to cool further, and glaciation cycles then started. Yes, no human in the picture yet again. This is when the snowball Earth was formed. Volcanoes then punctured through the ice and release massive carbon dioxide and other gases. Again, greenhouse effect happened. Ice melted and the planet became warm again. Many glaciations later, only around 1 billion years ago, the climate on Earth stabilized enough for the formation of life forms to form and thrive as we know them. Therefore, as proved, we had all these magnificent climate changes in the history of Earth's beginning itself without anything to do with the man-made processes. It's like a child blaming his parents for not inviting him for their marriage. My worthy opponents. The glacier advances have caused around 7 ice ages already. This was the time when man was learning to make fire. The natural orbital tilts or the Milankovitch cycle caused climate changes in the times when man had nothing to interfere with. The variation in solar energies and internal variations and Arctic oscillations have caused climate change. Example, El Nino and La Nino, hot and cold, glacial interglacial.
Thank you very much, DTM Ram Kumar Nachupalli. Your time is up and you have been muted. Timer, please allocate 30 seconds for the judges to do their markings. Sergeant at Arms, DTM Alan Paul, can you get the next speaker ready? Toastmaster Tasneem Akbar.
Tasneem Dalal, how are you doing today? Can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah.
How are you doing today?
Great.
May I remind you to pin the timer, please?
Yeah, 1 minute.
Timer to Sana.
Yeah, I was just. Can you just give me a minute?
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you ready to debate?
Okay, can I start?
Thank you. All the best. Over to you, moderator.
I cannot
Thank
see
you very
myself.
much. Thank you very much, Sergeant at Arms. May I request our Toastmaster Tasneem Akbar Dalal from affirmative team, speaker number 2, to cross-examine negative team captain TTM Ram Kumar. Your time is 2 minutes, 1 minute 30 seconds green, 1 minute 40 seconds yellow, 1 minute 50 seconds red, and at 2 minutes you will be muted. Over to you. All the best.
Good evening, everyone, and special good evening to my worthy opponent, DTM Mr. Ram. Can I ask you one question? Can you differentiate between climate and climate change? DTM Mr. Ram? Excuse me? Can I ask the question? I can't get an answer from Mr. Ram. Can he hear me? Okay, so I consider that there's no answer for question number 1. So my next question is, Mr. Ditya, Mr. Ram Kumar, you said climate change existed before humans. You did not provide any evidence for your claims. Shall we take your claim as for granted, yes or no?
Can I see some thumbs up? Absolute silence here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear
Thanks.
me? Can you hear me, Mr. Ramkumar? Mr. Ramkumar? I asked the second question. You gave us the evidence of climate change. You said climate change existed before humans. You did not provide any evidence for your claim. Shall we take your claim for granted? Yes or no?
I cannot hear anything. Am I audible? Anyone? Roller? But I cannot hear anything to answer.
Okay, your time of 2 minutes is over. Now, please give 30 seconds timer for the judges to mark their markings. I would appreciate everybody.
I'm sorry, I could not hear anything and tried to have a conversation. I don't know whether
I request the
talking
host
or not.
to
Absolute silence here.
unmute everybody's mic, as well as
Moderator.
please stop the chatting. Kindly stop the chatting because I see many chats going on. And now the time begins.
Ola, can you hear me?
We hear you, DTM Ramkumar.
I cannot hear anything.
Please adhere to the room. Are you able to hear me, friends?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, everybody is able to hear. Please let the decorum be maintained. And let me request Toastmaster Tasneem Akbar to do our constructive speech. Your time is 3 minutes. After 2 minutes 30 seconds, you will have green. At 2 minutes 40 seconds, you will have yellow. At 2 minutes 50 seconds, you will have red. And at 3 minutes, your mic will be muted. All the best. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good evening, everyone, once again. My worthy opponent told a story about how Earth existed and climate existed and related aspects, but he did not provide any evidence to any of his claims, and all of his claims were based on assumptions that climate change existed before humans. How could humans know if it existed before humans? Let me start my constructive speech. Today, there's no real disagreement among climate experts that humans are the primary cause of recent global warming. The US Global Change Research Program has published a series of scientific reports documenting the cause and impact of climate change. NOAA, NASA, the National Science Foundation and National Research Council and the Environmental Protection Agency have all published reports and fact sheets stating that Earth is warming mainly due to the increase in human-produced heat-trapping gases. The National Academies of Science, Engineering and Medicine in 2019 says, scientists known for some time for multiple lines of evidence that humans are changing Earth climate, primarily through greenhouse gas emission, and the climate change is increasingly affecting people's lives. The American Meteorological Society issued this position statement in April 2019. The scientific evidence indicated that the leading cause of climate change in the most recent half century is anthropogenic. Increase in this concentration of atmospheric greenhouse gas, including carbon dioxide, CFC, methane, tropospheric ozone, and nitrous oxide. The Institute of Scientific Information, ISI, maintains a database of over 8,500 peer-reviewed science journals, and multiple studies of database shows evidence of overwhelming agreement among climate scientists. In 2004, science historian Naomi Ox published the result of examination of the ISI database in the journal Science. She reviewed 928 abstracts published between 1993 and 2018 related to the human activities warming Earth's surface, and stated the author found results consistent with 97% consensus that human activity is causing climate change. Based on the evidence provided, we strongly believe humans are primary cause for global warming and hence global climate change. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Can you, timer, please, can you give 30 seconds for the judges to mark their markings? Sergeant at Arms, Alan Paul, can you get the next speaker ready?
Yes. Moderator, please note that please call me in again before the constructive speech as well.
Okay, I will.
Okay. Toastmaster Quresh Dola, can you please unmute yourself?
Yes. Toastmaster DTM Alan.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm
sorry, I think there is a technical difficulty on your end. Toastmaster Quresh,
fully charged up.
may I ask you to pin the timer, please?
Yes, I was frozen for a few seconds. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, I can. Can you please pin the timer?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Sana Fatima. Yes, I have done that.
Can I also request the affirmative team speaker, Tasneem? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Quresh, are you ready to debate?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All the best. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Sergeant at Arms. Our next speaker, debater, is from Debate Musketeers, Toastmaster Quresh Saifuddin. Toastmaster Quresh, you will be now doing a cross-examination with Toastmaster Tasneem Akbar. Your allocated time is 2 minutes. At 1 minute 30 seconds, you will have green, 140 yellow, 1 minute 50 seconds red, and at 2 minutes, your mic will be muted. All the best. Over to you, Toastmaster Quresh.
Good evening, my worthy opponent, Toastmaster Tasneem. My question for you is, you had mentioned ozone layer. Can you please tell me the functions of ozone layer above the Earth's surface and close to the Earth's surface?
You want the whole, can you just repeat that you want the whole cycle?
No, I want the functions of ozone layer which are above the Earth's atmosphere and close to the Earth's atmosphere.
It protects us from UV radiations.
And close to the Earth?
That's the main purpose. It protects us from UV radiation.
No, I think you don't have your information correct. When the ozone layer is close to the Earth, it serves as a pollutant and a contributor to smog. So it is not it's not a helpful thing when it is very close to the Earth's surface. So I think you need to do your information right, check up. My second question to you is, can you tell me the effects of greenhouse gases in all the 4 seasons on the Earth? Since you mentioned about greenhouse gases as well.
Can you repeat
How does the greenhouse gas effect work in all the 4 seasons of Earth?
You want me to name all the gases?
No, I didn't ask you for the name of the gases. I said, how does the greenhouse gas affects in all the 4 seasons of the Earth?
The greenhouse gases affects how does the greenhouse gases affect the 4 seasons of the Earth? Right?
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
You have an answer.
Yeah, it's not related to our debate. Our debate is about who
No,
is
you mentioned
primarily
about the greenhouse
responsible.
gases, and I'm asking you a question
I
about
think you're
greenhouse
asking
gas.
me a science question. Our debate
If you
is
don't
not
have the
about
answer, you can
geography.
you
It's
don't have an
about who
answer.
is
But you have
primarily
mentioned
responsible.
greenhouse gas
Who
in
is
your.
primarily responsible for the climate change is our debate topic.
I wanted to ask you about greenhouse gas since you mentioned, and even your
Is not
captain has
about the
mentioned greenhouse
seasons.
gas
It's
in your
about
speech.
who's responsible. Are humans responsible for climate change?
Thank you very much. Sergeant at Arms, DTM Alan Paul, can you get our speaker ready for the constructive speech?
Thank you, moderator. Toastmaster Quresh Dola.
Yes,
you
sir.
ready?
Protest.
1 minute.
I protest
1 minute.
here. I protest. I protest. I protest.
1 minute.
There was a technical because I could not hear.
Please, DTM Ramkumar, please maintain the decorum, please. And please, timer, give 30 seconds for the judges to mark their markings. Thank you. Yes, DTM Alan Paul, can you get the speaker ready?
Toastmaster Quresh, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Am I audible?
Yes, may I remind you to pin the timer, please?
Now, debate moderator, I have a request before our
Can you please wait till the end, because we are going in a flow and I don't want it to be interrupted. And may I ask the host, please don't unmute anyone unless I request you. Yes, over to you, Sergeant at Arms.
Toastmaster Quresh, can you please pin the timer?
Yes, I have pinned her already.
Okay, great. All the best. And over to you, moderator.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sergeant at Arms. Our next speaker is Toastmaster Quresh Saifuddin from the negative team. He will be giving his constructive speech for 3 minutes. After 2 minutes, 30 seconds, you have green. At 2 minutes, 40 seconds, yellow. At 2 minutes, 50 seconds, you have red. And at 3 minutes, your mic will be muted. All the best. Over to you.
Debate moderator, distinguished Toastmasters present, guests, and my worthy opponents, a very good evening. I believe my worthy opponents have not done their research very well because they ran away from questions when they were asked and turned it into a science lesson. But I think they should have researched their topic when they mentioned greenhouse gases and ozone. They should have had information about ozone and greenhouse gases. Thank God I did not ask you much about fossil fuels, otherwise you wouldn't have an answer for that as well. Coming to my speech, I totally disagree with the proportion that human beings are primarily responsible for global climate change. There are humongous natural factors that are primarily responsible for global climate change, and I will be highlighting 2 such natural factors today. The first is the solar cycle, and the second is the Earth's orbital change. Talking about solar cycle, let me share the screen with you. As you can see on the screen, the picture according to NASA's Solar Primer article in 2011, the sun's magnetic field goes through a full cycle called solar cycle, once every 11 years. The beginning of a solar cycle is solar minimum with least sunspots. The middle of the solar cycle, as you can see in 2001, is solar maximum with the most sunspots. By the end of 11 years, it goes back to solar emissions and solar minimum. Sunspots are dark spots on the sun's surface arising due to change of the magnetic field of the sun. As you can see in the next graph, the first solar cycle was recorded in 1755 and ended in 1766. The lowest sunspots recorded were 14 and the highest sunspots were recorded in 144.1. The amount of sun's energy that reaches Earth's outer atmosphere is called total solar irradiance. The fluctuations in total solar irradiance brings in a lot of weather changes. Over the past century, the Earth's average temperature has increased to 0.6 degrees Celsius. Do you really think a human can be held responsible for these kind of temperature fluctuations? Now, in another case, based on the same graph, talking about a situation where there were almost no sunspots, you can see in the graph from 1650 to 1700, there were absolutely no sunspots, and this extended absence of solar activity may have been partly responsible for the little ice age in Europe. Do my worthy opponents want to blame poor human beings for ice age as well, caused by minimum solar activity as well? I guess not. Coming to my second natural cause, the effects of Earth's climatic condition is the Earth's orbital change. Based on the Milankovitch orbital cycles and their roles in Earth's climate by Alan Bew, scientist at the NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, he has explained and proved obliquity. As you can see in the picture, the Earth's angle is on a tilt, and the dotted line that you see behind is.
Thank you very much. Timer, please give 30 seconds for the judges to mark their marking.
Debate moderator, can I request?
Please,
as I maintain the decorum of the forum.
Please contact the chief judge, not in the forum here, please. Can I request DTM Alan Paul, our Sergeant at Arms, to get our third affirmative speaker ready?
Thank you, moderator.
May I request the Chief Judge? May I request the Chief Judge, Raza,
please,
to have
Toastmaster Shyam Sundar, are you ready?
Like to reiterate.
Toastmaster DTM Ramkumar, kindly contact him on a direct this thing. Please do not disturb the proceedings. Please.
I'm conveying to you, I'm not disturbing you.
No. Please maintain decorum. I want the moderator, the host to mute him.
Understand the perspective of the captain team. Negative team.
I'm sorry, please, you are interrupting the debate. Yes, Sergeant at Arms, kindly get going with the next speaker.
Toastmaster Shyam Sundar, how are you doing today? Sir, you're not audible. We are not able to hear you, Toastmaster Shyam.
Hello, Toastmaster.
Actually, our chief judge would like to speak. Toastmaster Shyam, until then, please hold the audio.
You're able to hear me, Toastmaster Alan?
Yes, loud and clear, Toastmaster Shyam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. DTM Ram,
yes.
Please mute yourself. While the Chief Judge, would you like to make an announcement?
I'm unmuted. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Chief Judge, would you like to say something? If not, we'll take this after the debate. Thank you, Chief Judge. Thank you, DTM Ramkumar. Please mute yourself. While we prepare for the next speaker, we have to proceed with the debate. Thank you for understanding. Toastmaster Shyam Sundar, may I remind you to please spin the time?
Yes, I have.
Thank you. Are you ready to debate?
Oh, yes.
All the best, and over to you, moderator.
Thank you very much, DTM Alan Paul. Toastmaster Shyam Sundar, you will now be able to do cross-examination for 2 minutes against Toastmaster Quresh Saifuddin. At 1 minute 30 seconds, you will have green. At 1 minute 40, you will have yellow. At 1 minute 50 seconds, you will have red. And at 2 minutes, your mic will be muted. Thank you. All the best. Over to you.
Toastmaster Krish, good evening. My first question to you. You're talking about Earth orbital changes, but you did not talk about what changes Earth orbital changes caused on the climate. Did you speak on that?
When I got muted, my time got over, but I can
thank
complete for you.
Thank you for your answer. Thank you for your answer. And the solar
orbital change.
No, please, you answered my question. You answered my question. You answered my question. Solar cycle. You're talking about solar cycle changes in the millions of years ago, but what changes solar cycle caused the effect on climate change in the last 100 years?
I told you that the solar cycle happens every 11 years, and based on the sunspots happening on the sun's surface, the radiation that is received by the earth is different every time.
You answered my question.
So every time there is a solar cycle going on, the temperature of the earth changes.
You answered my question. Who measures all these activities?
Actually, the protest should have been made during that session immediately before it got over. So if somebody protested immediately or asked for a change and said, we missed the chance, technically.
See,
we will have extension of 15 seconds for you. Timer, please note.
Thank you, moderator. Mr. Quresh.
Yes.
Who measures all these changes in activities in the climate?
NASA's climate change department. You can go and research on NASA's website. You will find all the information there.
Did they make any study who caused, whether human activity or nature caused the change in the climate activity, climate change?
When the solar activity happens, when the Earth state happens, there are a lot of climate changes that happens on the Earth, which brings a lot of. Global climate is all about climate change as well. It is global warming as well. It's global cooling as well. So the temperature.
Moderator,
yes, I did.
I protest.
Yes,
I protest the behavior of negative team speaker. My question is, did they were awarded any award for making any study on these natural causes causing climate change?
Why are you looking for their awards? We are talking about whether humans are responsible or no. What does that to do with the awards?
Every study should be recognized. Every study should be recognized. Is there any
I have given my facts from where I have given my information. If you had seen my speech properly, you would have found the records.
No, was there any recognition?
Thank you very much. Timer, please allocate 30 seconds for the judges to mark their markings. May I request affirmative team captain Ola to open our video.
Can I start my debate?
Wait.
Okay.
Thank you, timer. DTM Alan Paul, can you get our third speaker ready for the main session?
Sponsor Shyam Sundar, I believe you are audible. Have you pinned the timer?
Yes, I have pinned. Am I audible?
Yes, but there is some background noise somewhere.
Okay, I think it is clear now.
Yes, it is clear now. Thank you. All the best, and over to you, moderator.
Thank you, Sergeant at Arms DTM Alan Paul. Toastmaster Shyam Sundar. Now your constructive speech can start. The time is 3 minutes. After 2 minutes 30 seconds, you will see green. At 2 minutes 40 seconds, you will see yellow. At 2 minutes 50 seconds, you will see red. And at 3 minutes, your mic will be muted. Over to you, Toastmaster Shyam Sundar. All the best.
Good evening, moderator and my worthy opponents. We strongly believe that human activity is primarily responsible for global climate change, whether it is global warming, melting of glaciers, rise of ocean levels, and subsequent effects on population. My worthy opponent, Toastmaster Quresh, he did not give any evidence to his claims. He was just talking about some basics, but he did not make any study on the advanced aspects of climate change. It was very clear. Now, have you ever thought of the devastating effect of man-made globalization on the climate. Globalization that took momentum in 20th century led to migration and movement of people, international trade, investment movements, and all these coupled with industrial revolution caused greater need for energy. Today, the majority of 7.8 billion of human beings are depending upon machines for everything. Look at home appliances, electronics, factories and industries, aviation and shipping. We have a machine for even to brush our teeth. Where from these machines are taking up energy? Don't forget, this energy is coming from burning fossil fuels. Historically, the CO2 levels have never crossed 300 parts per million. And over the last 50 years, they have climbed to 410 parts per million. NOAA provides extensive evidence that excess CO2 emitted into atmosphere is because of burning fossils. Excess carbon-12 is coming from the burning fossil fuels. These fossils are nothing but buried plants millions of years ago. Please note that plants can take only carbon-12 for their photosynthesis. The amount of excess CO2 in greenhouse gases is equal to the amount of CO2 emitted from burning fossil fuels every year. The scientific community, led by International Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, and United Nations, are working with thousands of independent climatologists from countries all over the world, concluded that human activities are causing climate change. In December 2007, the IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, was awarded the Nobel Prize for their efforts to build up and disseminate greater knowledge about man-made climate change. So, by all these evidences, we can conclude that human activity over the past 100 years, it caused greater amount of change in the climate, and it has devastating effect on the climate and its population. Thank you so much. I rest my argument over here.
Thank you very much. Timer, kindly allocate 30 seconds for the judges to mark their markings. Thank you very much. DTM Alan Paul, may I request you to get our next speaker ready, Toastmaster Rola Ismail.
Thank you, moderator. Toastmaster Rola Ismail.
Yes.
How are you doing today?
I'm good, good.
May I remind you to pin the timer, please?
Yeah, which one you want? Is
Timer
it, Sana? Yes.
Yes,
okay.
exactly. Before you begin,
Yes,
Toastmaster Sham, are you ready?
Oh yes, I am ready.
Okay. Toastmaster Rola, all the best, and over to you, moderator.
Thank you very much, DTM Alan Paul. And Toastmaster Rola Ismail, now it is the time for you to do cross-examination for affirmative speaker, Toastmaster Sham Sundar. Your allocated time is 2 minutes. After 1 minute, 30 seconds, you will have green. At 1 minute, 40 seconds, you will have yellow. At 1 minute, 50 seconds, you will have red. And at 2 minutes, your mic will be muted. All the best. Over to you.
Good evening, everyone, and special good evening for my worthy opponent, Sham and his team. Sham, can you, Sham, answer me in one word? What do you mean by climate change?
Climate change, changing the climate that is related to global warming, melting of
First off,
glaciers.
thank you very much. I hear your answer. Actually, climate change, it's a change, which means could be an increase in temperature or a decrease in temperature. And I think this was missed in your definitions. Okay, one more thing. Do you think global warming is bad?
Yes, it is. Global warming is bad.
Do you think it's better to go back to the ice ages where people were sent to freeze?
The topic is about, what we are talking is about the climate change in the last 150 years. And
climate change is both global warming and icing.
We are not concerned with millions of years back.
Why? It started before humans, long time. Okay, so do you believe that science is absolute?
Science is real. We are not into political debate here. Politics, they make lies, but science never make lies. Because science is that
actually science is usually based on assumption that it's much easier to study human behavior than to study.
You have an assumption, you make experiment, you repeat the experiment, you repeat the experiment 1,000 times.
Yes, but it's much easier. Exactly, I got you. But it's much easier to study human behavior than to study bigger natural disasters and nature causes.
No,
okay, one more thing. You said that in industrial revolution, we had industrial revolution that caused global warming. So do you think it's better to live without the industrial revolution? Do you think we should?
No, what we are advising people to be responsible. Be responsible, watch your carbon footprints, be responsible.
Yes.
And,
but without this industrial revolution, which you think it's the main cause, we wouldn't have had the computers to study climate change.
See, we are trying to propagate on the clean energy. Okay, there is alternative clean energy.
Thank you very much. Timer, can you allocate 30 seconds for the judges to mark their markings? Thank you very much. May I request our Sergeant at Arms to get our next speaker, Toastmaster Rola, ready for the constructive speech.
Thank you, moderator. Toastmaster Rola, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Have you pinned the timer?
Yes, so it's pinned. I'm not sure. Just one minute, just let me check because I can't see it now.
Timer 2, sir.
Yes, again, timer 2. Yes, I pinned. Thank you.
Okay, great. All the best, and over to you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Sergeant at Arms, GTM Alan Paul. Toastmaster Rola Ismail. Now your constructive speech can start. Time allocated is 3 minutes. After 2 minutes, 30 seconds, you will have green. At 2 minutes, 40 seconds, you will have yellow. And at 2 minutes, 50 seconds, you will be shown red. And at 3 minutes, your mic will be muted. All the best. Over to you, Rola Ismail, Toastmaster.
Good evening, debate moderator, fellow Toastmasters, and worthy opponents. Yes, climate change is real. But you know what? Let's be real. There are other causes than humans, and these causes may have much wider and prolonged effect on the climate. If burning fossil fuels increase the carbon dioxide in the air, as our worthy opponents mentioned, whose effect actually on the climate change is questionable, and hereafter illustrated, eruptions produce sulfur dioxide whose effect is more and longer on the climate. For example, Volcano Tambora in Indonesia burst in 1815. In addition to killing tens of thousands of people, its effect on the climate was even worse. The explosive eruptions produced millions of sulfur dioxide particles, which had double effect. 3% decrease in rainfall and 1 degree Celsius decrease in Earth temperature in only 1 year, twice more than what the Earth have witnessed an increase in temperature over half a century. It was followed by a year 1816 known as the year without summer. How strong is Mother Nature and how weak is the human who could do nothing about it? Now let's consider the argument of carbon dioxide emissions from human activity as the main cause for climate change. Empirical evidences represented by Tim Ball, a professor of geography at Winnipeg University, showed that carbon dioxide actually cools weather rather than warm it. And it's actually a consequence of the increase in the temperature rather than a cause for it. Also, as illustrated in this graph, also, carbon dioxide is not only produced by humans. Animals exhale it as well as plants, and guess what? Scientists can't quantify it. Moreover, don't you think that carbon dioxide is actually absorbed naturally by the oceans and forests up to 50%, according to Asia Pacific Journal of Atmospheric Sciences? And speaking of oceans, according to a study in geophysical research, natural shifts in the ocean currents are the major cause of climate changes. Global cooling over the period 1940 to 1970 and warming over the period 1970 to 2008 coincided with fluctuations in ocean currents driven by something called Pacific Decadal Oscillation, with no human intervention whatsoever. So how can we claim that humans primarily cause change in the climate? What about the melting of ice and glaciers? Do you know it's due to atmospheric circulation changes that cause rapid warming? And according to Christian Schlancher, professor of geology at Bern University, the retreat of glaciers in the Alps began in the mid-19th century before even human carbon dioxide emissions entered the atmosphere. Volcanic eruptions, oceanic currents are some of the causes. In a nutshell, according to Heartland Institute, based on the report produced by the NIPCG, nature, not human activity, rules the climate change. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Can the timer allocate 30 seconds for the judges to mark their markings? Thank you very much. DTM Alan Paul, our Sergeant at Arms, can you get our next speaker ready? DTM Ola.
DTM Ola?
Yes.
How are you doing today?
Great.
May I request you to pin the timer, please? Timer
Same
to Sana.
center, right? Oh, okay.
Before you start, Toastmaster Ola, are you ready?
Yes.
Great. All the best, and over to you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Sergeant at Arms DTM Alan Paul. DTM Ola Rashid, you will have 2 minutes to cross-examine the third negative speaker, Toastmaster Rola Ismail. At 1 minute 30 seconds, you will have green. At 1 minute 40 seconds, you will have yellow. And at 1 minute 50 seconds, red will be shown. And at 2 minutes, your mic will be muted. All the best. Over to you.
Thank you so much. And my worthy opponent, Toastmaster Rola. My first question is, do you think sulfur dioxide is trapped in the atmosphere and causes warming of the atmosphere? Yes or no?
It actually has a double
yes
effect.
Or no? No, I don't need any explanation. I just need
yes, of course.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
Mm.
Thank you so much. The second question: do you have any quantifiable natural emitted of the carbon dioxide versus the human caused carbon dioxide?
Unfortunately, the scientists did not quantify that.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now, you said 50% of the carbon dioxide is absorbed by oceans, correct? Do you know how much percentage of carbon dioxide is generated in comparison to it?
Yes, 50% of the total.
Not by nature, but by the human beings. Do you have any statistics regarding that part?
This is actually a weak point for the humans, because the humans can't quantify how much nature is covering that. No. How much of the carbon dioxide is from nature, how much is from humans? This is scientists can do.
You didn't mention that the carbon dioxide is only, like, you spoke about the nature and then the carbon dioxide. But the causation of the carbon dioxide, is it only from the nature or from both the human and nature? Because
I said
50%,
in addition to humans, it's animals and plants.
If
I
you
said
did
in
a
addition to
very good
humans.
research about it, you will see that oceans, they absorb more than 50% of that, the carbon dioxide. The second
Actually, this
thing,
what was mentioned in what I said.
Do you think that ocean changes are only caused naturally? Yes or no?
Yes. Primarily by nature, because the effect of nature is more than the effect of humans.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Timer, can you give 30 seconds for the judges to mark their markings? Thank you very much, Timer. Sergeant at Arms, DTM Alan Paul, can you get our next speaker ready for the summary preparation?
Thank you, moderator. DTM Ola, are you ready?
Please, I have already requested that I need to go to the breakout room with my team, please.
Okay. Please, host, please allocate how much time, host, for the breakout? Host, can you respond? Or the
can you have 5 minutes?
Moderator, it is 2 minutes for summary preparation time, and followed by they will have 3 minutes to give their summary speeches.
No. For the breakout room.
Breakout.
2 minutes.
Okay. Can you allocate breakout rooms for both the teams?
The breakout room is open. All the debaters, please move to the breakout room. Timer, please hold your time. I will confirm when to start. Timer, you may start the timing. All the debaters are in the breakout room. Time for 2 minutes, please. We are still waiting for Sham. Moderator,
and
you
the
may.
timer is the same, Sana, right?
Yes. Ola, are you ready? Ola, can you please unmute yourself?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. Are you ready to debate?
Sure.
Okay. All the best, and over to you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Sergeant at Arms DTM Alan Paul. Our affirmative team captain, DTM Ola Rashid, will be making our summary preparation speech for 3 minutes. After 2 minutes, 30 seconds, you will be shown green color. After 2 minutes, 40 seconds, it will be yellow. And at 2 minutes, 50 seconds, it will be red. And at 3 minutes, your mic will be muted. No new issues to be brought in at this summary. Wish you all the best. Over to you, DTM Ola Rashid.
Thank you so much. Our worthy opponent told a story about how Earth existed and a climate existed before humans, but they did not provide any evidence to any of his claims. All of their claims were based on the assumptions that climate change existed before humans. How could humans know if it existed before humans? They also mentioned about solar cycles and Earth orbital change, which were all claims about any evidence which we successfully refuted. Our opponent primarily focused on naturally occurring carbon dioxide and stated that sulfur dioxide is a greenhouse gas. They provided all information based on non-scientific assumptions and were more claims which are refuted well. We have argued that humans have contributed to 40% rise in carbon dioxide levels since the dawn of the industrial age in the mid-1700s, and this is because of the massive usage of coal and fossil fuel by humans. We have provided evidence beyond doubt that industrialization is the primary cause for severe weather patterns. We argued how globalization has increased human activity and we are directly affecting our environment and climate change, which spans globally. We have provided evidence from NOAA that Earth is warming mainly due to the increase in human-produced heat trapping gases, and from multiple lines of evidence that the humans are changing Earth climate primarily through greenhouse gas emission, and that the climate change is increasingly affecting people's lives. We have provided evidence squeezed from 928 abstracts from the extensive ISI database of 8,500 peer-reviewed journals from years 1993 and 2000 to 2018 that the human activity is causing a global climate change, and 97% of the climate scientists agree that conclusion. We strongly believe that the humans are the primary cause for global warming and hence global climate change. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Timer, can you give 30 seconds for the judges to mark their markings? Thank you. Can I request our Sergeant at Arms, DTM Alan Paul, to get our negative team captain ready for this speech?
Thank you, moderator. DTM Ramkumar, can you please unmute yourself? Great to see you smile. How are you doing?
Terrific. Fine, thank you. I'm comfortable.
Please the timer?
Sana Fatima, right?
Yes. Timer 2, Sana.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Oh, yes, I'm ready. Thank you.
Over to you, moderator, and all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, DTM Alan Paul. Now is the time for our negative team captain, DTM Ramkumar Nachupalli, to do the summary speech. Your time
I don't agree with.
Can you allow me to complete? Your time is 3 minutes. After 2 minutes 30 seconds, it will be green. At 2 minutes 40 seconds, it will be yellow. At 2 minutes 50 seconds, it will be red. And at 3 minutes, your mic will be muted. Over to you. All the best.
Thank you once again. Welcome back, all my worthy opponents. I do not agree with the baseless arguments because of assumptions, because of extrapolations. I counter the arguments, the questions which I raised. Can any man-made factor be bigger than solar effects or orbital tilt effects? They could not answer. Without man-made efforts, do you think next ice age won't happen? It happened 12,000, 16,000 years ago. 7 ice ages has gone. I refer to the NASA. I refer to the cosmology. Scientific research study. Yes, greenhouse effect. Yes, emissions. Yes, climate change. What affirmative said, but after 500 millions of years, where Earth is formed, reference NASA, USG, CCSC, before 4.2 billion years ago, where humans are born. Without even existence of Earth. All this was happening before man-made or Earth came into existence. I don't agree with your arguments because of assumptions and extrapolation nature. Will do its job. Solar variations will happen. Solar orbital will occur. All this will happen because these are bigger, even massive than man-made. We are taking into consideration greenhouse gases effect from the past mid-20th century, 1950 onwards, where scientific study has been debated and in contrary disputed also, because these greenhouse gases even happened way before. Our team provided today the climate changes are caused due to various natural causes, not primarily due to human beings. We proved this while stating various reports that natural causes like Earth's natural carbon dioxide emissions since inception 4.6 billion years ago, natural orbital tilts or the Milankovitch cycle, solar cycles, glacial advances, Arctic oscillations, current oceans, El Nino and La Nino, the cold and hot, glacial cycles, volcanic eruptions, all these we have proved with the scientific advanced research and the reference materials. The man cannot be held responsible as the primary contributor to climate change. These are natural changes happening since the very beginning of the birth of planet Earth, and it is out of scope of human intervention. Hence, since our affirmative team has failed to prove us otherwise, we still firmly believe that climate change is not primarily caused by human beings. I rest my case with two things. My worthy affirmative team did not answer. Can any man-made factor be bigger than the solar effects or orbital tilt effects? Without man-made factors, do you think next ice age won't happen? Another factor which I believe industrialization is not helpful. If it's not helpful, how you will enjoy the refrigeration? How will you sit and together and computer with and interact with the virtual sessions? I rest my case.
Thank you very much for both the teams for a great show. Can I ask timer to give 30 seconds for the judges to mark their markings? Thank you very much, timer. Thanks to each and every role player. May I hand over this virtual platform back to our master of ceremony, DTM Arij Jafar.
Good evening, everyone. I cannot start the video. Anyway, this was an exciting debate. Don't you think so? But now, let's go to the moment that we were all waiting for. The part and the session of this meeting that we are looking up to it. Our guest speaker today, he is a Toastmasters member since 2003. He is specialized in the fine art of speech evaluation and formal debating. Thank you, moderator. His milestone of his journey is this field was winning the DTAG 2012 title for speech evaluation category. In his spare time, while he is not speaking or evaluating a speech, he enjoys a good book or a gripping movie. And as of 2013, he began the long and interesting journey of studying competitive debating. Help me everyone welcome our guest speaker for today, Toastmasters Ahmed Mohamed Shukri.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Arij, for a lovely introduction. I know that this introduction could be quite lengthy and a tongue twister, so thank you very much for saying it so eloquently and nicely. Fellow Toastmasters, fellow debaters, good evening. I have been on the edge of my seat for the past hour or so, watching and listening to a fierce debate that reminded me of all those debates on climate change and all those deniers and provers of climate change. And tonight I have chosen something which I believe could be as impressive as the debaters tonight. And I chose this topic carefully to both entice and motivate and push our debaters to a higher ground. If I may share my screen at this moment so I can go into my presentation, please. If the host can make me a co-host so I can share my screen, thank you very much. So fellow Toastmasters, if you look into my topic for today, I've chosen a Latin phrase that maybe is familiar with some of you here in the room. The phrase is agoraphobia, and agoraphobia is a word that consists of two parts. The first part is agora, and the second part is phobia. Agora, of course, is crowded places or the marketplace in Latin. Phobia is fear of crowded places or the marketplace. This is the title I chose for my presentation on 10 mistakes to avoid while debating. If you're aware or if you're familiar with this painting, this is one of the most fascinating and magical painting of classic painters. And it describes the death of Socrates, La Mort de Socrate, painted by the famous French painter Jacques-Louis David in the year 1787. In this magical and inspiring painting, you see the great teacher, the first teacher, the creator of modern philosophy in the heart of Athens, Socrates, accepting his fate of drinking poison at this stage, 470 years BC. The first teacher was given a sentence of death because he was, quote unquote, corrupting the young minds of Athens with strange ideas of morality and philosophy. This depiction by Plato, his most famous student, gave the foundation that motivated Plato to go into his morality study and gave us beautiful scriptures like the Republic and Symposium and many other books that really inspired modern debating and modern exchange of ideas. These ghosts of foreign thinkers, of great teachers, inspire us into tonight's debate of the human intellectual exchange of ideas and thoughts. And I take them as my inspiration for today's session. My actual session, taken from the death of Socrates, is 10 mistakes to avoid when debating and when engaging in competitive debate. And my oh my tonight was quite a fierce and competitive debate. So I'll try to use some examples from tonight's debate, but I will try my best to give a more general outlook that beginners as well as advanced debaters can benefit from. These 10 mistakes is a combination of technique and fallacies. So fallacy by itself is a big part of any debate format. So I've tried to mix it between fallacies and technique. So let me start with the first mistake. First mistake, debaters are not birds. We're not birds, we're humans. So please don't wing it. And when I say wing it, I take you to the art of theater. And you can see here right now, any theater will have on the left and on the right, a piece of barrier called wing. So the right and left wing in the old days, in the early days of theater, many theater players were not as professional and as able as these days. So they used to forget the lines, night in and night out. So the production manager or director used to have helpers hiding on the left and the right. They were winging it. So the inexperienced thespians and actors were getting the help from the helpers on the wing, left and right. Guess what? We don't want this in debating. We don't want people to wing it. The key to winning debates is prepare, prepare, and prepare even more. Those who are most prepared usually can put forward very convincing argumentations and very convincing prepositions. Many people I come across in the art of debating think of debating as an extended table topics, especially Toastmasters. Well, I guess it's not extended table topics. We can't really fathom the inner beast inside of us and call upon the debate gods to inspire us if we're not prepared. So it's not extended table topics. Nor it is a chance for you to exercise your personal stories and personal speeches. There are so many debaters who are put in the spot and they go into this monologue of personal stories. I have done this and I have done that. Okay, you might be creative in your personal stories, but it may not be relevant to the actual topic of the debate. And guess what? We can tell when you are winging it. And the more we spend in debating, the more obvious it becomes to us that you are winging your debate resolution. So the first mistake to avoid, don't come to give an extended table topics. Prepare, prepare, and prepare even more. Like tonight, for example, even if you're prepared and you're ready, you will be questioned on your preparation and your science and your examples and evidences. That was the first mistake. The second mistake, I know this part is quite boring, but it's important because you can't debate what you can't define. So definitions are quite important. Actually, the way that the debate is rolled out or constructed like a domino pieces is based on the first very important piece of domino, which is the definition of terms. I know it's boring, but it's necessary. The second part, which usually the negative team captain does not do, usually in debates, is to modify the term. So most of the times, the terms defined by the affirmative team is accepted. I see only few experienced debaters, they modify the term and they become successful in getting the modified term accepted. You know why? Because modification of the term can put you in a corner and you don't have time to even bring forward your next argumentation. So a safe choice is to really find the best method of defining the term. I've seen some debates where they defined all the terms as per the dictionary. And even that happened, they were questioned about their definition. So team captains in particular, defining the term is the best milestone and the best cornerstone of a very well-constructed debate, and it must happen in a very timely, efficient, and economical manner. I remember once in one of the debates, the team captain of the affirmative team was questioned on his definition, and the negative team captain told him, you don't have to stick to Merriam-Webster definition of this term. A definition is a very broad explanation of how we understand the terms of the resolution. And that's an important step towards constructing better line of reasoning and argumentation. Moving on, a famous character from the movies Scream, the movie series Scream, as you know. And I took it as a symbol for my third mistake. We tend to raise our voices, especially the male voice, because we believe that the baritone or the bass, deep bass male voice is dominating when it's loud. Guess what? Not in debating. When our argumentations fail, our voices increase in tone. The best debaters, they are taken from the heart of the Oxford Union, who laid the foundation of the Oxford style debating, and even Lincoln or Douglas in their famous series of debating that created the Lincoln-Douglas debates. Both of them were calm and collected. In fact, there are many houses of debate where they are really frown upon. They frown upon loudness and lack of decorum. And you see tonight, there were some moments of lack of decorum, and you can see it how it disturbed the flow of debating. So you need to hold your horses, as the American expression says. When you jump into this zone of anger and human enthusiasm, this is where your voice tends to get louder. Your voice getting louder is not because your voice is getting louder. It's because anger is speaking its small head and making you scream louder. There's something inside of us that we want to be heard, and having this Zoom platform making it even more difficult for us to really get our voices sent across in a very collected and calm manner. That is why, I am a big believer in both the Lincoln-Douglas model of debating, which is used in Toastmasters, as well as many, many other forms of debating. But I am really careful with the cross-examination. In many of the beginners that I deal with, I work with, I urge them not to go into a cross-examination unless they spend a good amount of time debating, because any small tweak in the format of cross-examination can create a lot of chances for loud voices and not loud cases. Let your arguments speak. Trust me, the best debaters that I know, the world champions, the college champions, are always calm and collected. They're soft-spoken. They know how to bring forward their arguments and not their voices. Which takes us to the fourth mistake. And tonight we had a big chunk of our fourth mistake in debating. We have this illusion of mixing opinions as mere facts. In our heads, our opinions seems to be like more true than other people's opinions. So there is a very vague, blurry line between us giving an opinion and us stating a fact. Just like in this slide in front of you, we can tell that the person on the top left corner is a person from England because of the program we have in our heads that the English always live in a rainy place and have an umbrella and play football. And so on. Of course, on the other corner, you see an American cowboy, and the French with the baguette, and the Mexican with the sombrero. We can't really avoid stereotypical examples. This is what makes us human. If you like a movie by George Clooney called Up in the Air, George Clooney was questioned why he labels people like they're Asian and they're American, they're white. He says, my mom taught me how to label because it's easier for me to get my life going. It's not. a stereotypical framework can really create a lot of chance for fallacies and a lot of chance of mistakes in line of reasoning. And it creates a blur between opinions and facts. Not only that, but there are examples where we do hearsay. And hearsay was really punishable by law many years ago. Even here, whenever we go into this monologue of somebody questioning our resources and our science or our examples or our premises, we go into this one-man fight. They say, this is not just my opinion, it's a fact. And we even go to old wives' tales, and I blame WhatsApp as a prime example of this. Before WhatsApp, there was a chain mail of really old wives' tales, and COVID-19 these days really added more log to this fire. So we are susceptible to old wives' tales all the time. Only those who are clever and smart know how to really sift through the old wives' tale and the truth. Same thing here in debating. Even if you have a fact and you know that fact is proven and agreed upon, even that fact can be questioned if the fact touches a personal aspect of people's life and belief system. So we need to really be careful. We need to be sticking with the truth whenever we have facts, and we need to be really strong in favor of facts. And whenever we have an opinion, we need to state the opinion first and make it very clear that this is what I believe in, what I think is true, but only the facts will speak to give a more powerful line of reasoning in the claim and in the warranty of your reasoning and argumentation. That is my fourth mistake. We go on to the causality dilemma, and this is my fifth mistake. Causality dilemma, I believe, is a major source of fallacies in debating, because many things can be related, but many things are not caused by each other. This is the classic case of egg or chicken or egg. What causes climate change, human or animals? I'll give a clear example between the difference between causality and correlation. This is an example of this. So when you get rain falling down on a country, on a nation, there is a strong correlation between rainy days and the number of traffic accidents. So the correlation can be strong whenever you see rain leads to more traffic accidents. But here we need to be careful about causality. So when we say rain causes traffic accidents, rain cannot be the only cause of traffic accidents. Maybe on that day, people were not sleeping very well, or the rush in the traffic jams were above the chart. So even scientists, even in the best scientific methods, they are careful in pinpointing causality. They can indicate strong correlations, but they are really careful about causality. In fact, the climate change, the global warming debate itself has a lot of debates and studies and peer-reviewed papers on the causality and correlation. If you go back to one of the most famous mainstream media coverage of the global change phenomena is from, of course, one of the strongest proponent of global change, the Vice President of America in the previous term, Al Gore. He also has a very famous book turned movie turned a lot of websites and social media posts called An Inconvenient Truth. And he refers to the hockey stick chart, which correlates between emissions of CO2 and increase in global temperature. Even with his hockey stick chart, if you go and Google it, you'll see that he's careful in causality. He doesn't go easily in what causes. He can infer that there is a strong correlation between human activity and CO2 increase, but he's careful in causality. Why we say this? Because in the end, there's something called a circular argument And this is a fallacy also of logic and debating. If we cannot define what causes what, we will go into an endless circle of chicken or egg. And we end the time we have, of course, usually limited time we have, without pinpointing causality. So even when I debate, this is a personal advice to anyone who wants to debate, I try my best to steer away from causality and only focus on correlation, that there is a strong correlation and there's a strong link between factors and an outcome. I'll give another example. In America, the leading expert in COVID-19 research is a doctor called Dr. Anthony Fauci. And for a long time, whenever he's questioned about medicine or a vaccine or a method to stop the spread of COVID-19, he always refers to correlation. There is a strong correlation, but we need to check the science. We need scientific experiment, we need evidence, data to hold the correlation to a strong causality. So be careful about the chicken or egg in your debates and your own argumentation. Moving on for the sixth one. Now for this, I'll take you back to ancient Athens, because I'm a big fan of ancient Athens, and because I believe that they were the hotbed of philosophy and morality and many, many other of the foundations of science we are enjoying this day. Athens were also known for two things: for forums, which is people used to get together and debate and talk and lay forward their argumentation. That's why many people feel that these forums of ancient Athens were the first seeds of our parliamentary movement in the modern day. The second most famous thing in ancient Athens were plays, theater. So the Greek on those days, the pastime hobby for them was attending theater. And in many of those plays, when the actors or the players in the play get stuck in a situation, the plot is not moving forward, they used to have an actual crane, like a machine, that brings down an angel or someone from above to solve this dilemma. That's why the term divine intervention was coined from those ancient days. And the term deus ex machina is Latin for intervention of a machine. And that machine that used to lower the actor from the top of the theater to act as divine intervention was coined as one of the fallacies that we use in debating. You see this type of debate whenever we touch morality or ethics or belief system. You see a negative or affirmative team captain uses absolute authority. So I believe in this because somebody told me it is true. You can't argue with that. It's very hard to argue something to you is black or white. If you can't find an area of gray, you will create an absolute authority of what you say. And no matter how hard I cross-examine or bring evidences or bring facts, it doesn't matter. When we say it as an absolute authority, nothing in our head can change that absolute authority. So my advice to you, using divine intervention, using absolutes, using red tape, using unquestionable sources of knowledge can really put you in a corner when debating. So try your best to really push for that gray area of debating, push to that force of questioning things. And for the sake of debate, whenever you come across a red tape, try not to put it as your prime source of argumentation, because once you put this as your prime source of argumentation, you really limit the chance of questioning and debating. And that is my sixth mistake. The seventh one is the one that I really personally love. It's my favorite, actually. And it's called a red herring. A red herring, of course, is a smelly red fish that is used as a bait to catch other fishes. A red herring is a phenomena or a style of direction coined by Alfred Hitchcock. He was known for his red herrings, and a red herring is a distractor. So it's an argument, a line of argumentation, or a scene inside a movie, or a scene of a chapter in a book that does not contribute to the overall final outcome of the arguments or the story or the movie. It's puts there for the sake of drama, sake of breaking the chain of boredom, and it's just a distraction. You know, distractions can be good sometimes in debating, but because they take a lot of time and effort, and they need a lot of stage drama to create premise, to create examples, to create a line of flow, they are really lacking in their relevance. So you might say few arguments, a few claims, they're not so relevant to the actual line of reasoning. So it can create a red herring, an insignificant argument that does not lead to the common understanding and outcome. That's why divergence is really unadvised in debating. And even tangents. A tangent is a parallel line of thinking that takes you away from the core subject. We have a term for this in debating, it's called prima facie. Prima facie is what is the heart of the matter, the heart of debate. So if you don't reach to the prima facie of the arguments, you are going into red herring after red herring after red herring, and you are into the cycle of distractions. And there are actual debaters who are experienced in the science of distracting. So they start their speech and they end their speech in total distraction without converging into the prima facie. So I like Hitchcock, but I like him as a director. I don't like him as a debater. So let's put the herring, all the red herring in movies and in chapters and not in debating. Moving on to number 8, of course, one of our very famous classics is Alice in Wonderland, and Alice, as seen here, following the rabbit down the rabbit hole. And we use this metaphor to talk about slippery slopes. And a slippery slope is one of the most famous logical fallacies in debating, where debaters exaggerate, augment, go over the board in paraboles, in creating a massive storm in a cup because of a small effect in the line of arguments. Actually, tonight we've seen a slippery slope in the arguments where one of the debaters said, so you are denying that humans cannot cause ice ages. This is an example of a slippery slope where the small effect is taken out of context and blown out of proportions. I've seen some debates where they talk about fighting poverty, and the debaters were so enthusiastic by saying that if we don't stop the waste today, tomorrow we'll have no food to feed anyone and we'll have an empty earth. Of course, it's a nice style of drama, theatrics, but we need to be careful about the line of reasoning here. We need to avoid slippery slopes because these can create a very obvious fallacy in your premise to your conclusion. Also be careful about the butterfly effects because, there's a theory that says small things, small sparks can create massive impact. But to prove this effect, you need a lot of evidence in your arguments. So I, for one, would like to really avoid slippery slopes and really stick to concise, confined, simple line of arguments. So don't be like Alice and don't follow that rabbit. Stay where you are, stay in reality, or you'll find yourself in a very weird place where queens fight with playing cards and cats fly around. So be careful where you are and stay on solid ground in reality. I go to my last two mistakes. This is also a very famous one, the straw man, the man made of straw. This is where you try to pick the arguments of your opposing team and find an area of that argument. It could be a weak area, it could be a weird area, and try to deny it because of that small area. I'll give you an example. When we try to debate going vegetarian or plant-based diet, okay, one straw man is like this. Why do you want us to stop eating meat? I'm sure that you have something against us, that you don't want us to taste the delicious taste of a steak or a fried chicken leg. You see, this is a small straw man taking us away from the main argument that we are trying here to go into plant-based diet for a sustainable human approach to dealing with animals. So you avoid the main solid foundation of the prima facie, and you take a small element of the arguments, create a straw man, and then blow the straw man away. So this is quite famous because straw men or straw man example, the problem with straw man is it's so personal. So a debater can go personally and say, I can't see it. This doesn't add up. It's too good to be true. So straw man are quite common in debating, and please be careful how to pinpoint a straw man when you see it. Last but not least, I'm also aware of the time, it's personal. One of the reasons why I don't like cross-examinations, even in Lincoln Douglas, because it gets personal. We call this fallacy in debating an argumentum ad hominem. Argumentum ad hominem. The argument, the name calling, the loud voice turns away from the subject and focuses on the person. You're not prepared. You don't know what you're talking about. Your sources are weak. You are weak. You don't know how to debate. And of course, the famous example of ad hominem is Mr. Trump. He sees bad people all across his Oval Office and he calls them name. He has a name for every of his enemies or every of his rivals. We don't like that in debating. We don't like to call people names. We don't want ad hominem attacks on people because ad hominem attacks on people create bad blood. And we need this art of debate to be noble and to be a high form of human intellectuals. And with this, I take you back to the original picture of the death of Socrates and tell you one thing very important of that very famous painting. In the death of Socrates, when Socrates was sentenced to his eventual poisoning, he did not run away from this sentence. He didn't try to flee Athens and go somewhere else. In the last scene, he took the poison himself as a lesson for his students. And many critics say that Plato, if you see Plato in the white robe, he's facing the other side from his teacher. A lot of morality, the Platonic approach of Plato came from the last stance of his teacher. We want the same in debating. We want to stick with Platonic standards of debating and create the best platform for human intellect and move with our arguments for a better way for human connection and interaction. With this, I conclude my presentation on the 10 mistakes to avoid in debating. I hope that you enjoyed those 10 mistakes and will avoid them in the future. Best of luck to you all, and back to you, Toastmaster Arij.
Thank you so much, Toastmasters Ahmed Shukri, for this amazing session. I really enjoyed it, and I will take all the points you have mentioned today to my improvement. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. And now we will move to the next part, and that is announcing the winners. Are you guys ready?